This episode of the Justin Robert Young podcast is brought to you by patreon.com/JuRY. Creepy wink. Oh, geez. Normally that would come in stronger, but I think I lost my voice. Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Justin Robert Young podcast. This might sound... What the hell happened? The Silverchair started playing. This might sound a little bit weird. It might look a little bit weird. It's going to look a little bit different if you're watching the YouTube video because this is a banked episode. It's not live. Normally we do this as live, 7 p.m. on diamondclub.tv. But also, we are on our different set, our alternate set, our sit-down set that we use for JuRY more. And now we got Lavs. Lavs? Lavs.
Yes.
Yeah.
One of those.
I guess it's like whatever you say with more confidence.
Oh, for sure. Like whenever I'm talking to audio guys, I'm like, I need a lav right now.
Yeah.
Right now. You're like, don't give them time to correct you.
But now try it the other way.
I need a lav right now. Right now. Don't try it.
I can't even tell.
Yeah.
I don't even know which one came in which order.
Tomato, potato.
So we're going to be doing this, and this is just one of those episodes that I just know if I need an episode, I can just call up Brett. Brett will come on over, walk the block it takes to get from his apartment to my apartment. And we can knock out an episode that'll just be here in the vault. Last time we did this, we had a whole fucking movie franchise.
Yeah, and one of the other times I was just thinking about because I felt like the song very well meshed with the first time I popped on just for a JuRY podcast when we ended up talking about The Mountain Rapist for most of the
Oh my God, yeah. Which, easily the most disturbing.
I'm the guy who still follows me around on Twitter and says hi every once in a while and is never not creepy.
Periodically, and you can't say like, hey dude, fuck off, because like we invented the mountain rapist.
Yeah.
Like it really is, it's our own folly visited back upon us. He's doing nothing but execute what we said the mountain rapist was all about.
It's like the guy who invented Santa complaining about all the coal he gets for free.
Somebody said Santa coal? Is it like a coal company that wants to get the Santa endorsement?
No, the guy invented coal. The guy invented Santa. Santa goes, poof. All right, I exist now. Also, you're an asshole. Here's coal. And they're stocking. Santa gives coal in a stocking to the bad guys.
Wait, but Santa is spurning his owner? Like, spurning his creator?
Clearly, the owner is an asshole. Like, as someone who creates random characters at any given moment, I feel like we have an inside knowledge on what those type of people are like.
Sure.
Not good people.
Okay, but I like the idea that Santa is visiting his terrible revenge on his creator.
Yeah.
This is a really good idea.
Well, terrible revenge, but also free coal, right? And whenever Santa was invented, that's probably a pretty good deal.
Like, it would be something that you would pay for.
Well, all I'm saying is like, you can't invent Santa and then complain that you get free home central heating.
I feel like there's so many other things that would be like on top of your list if you invented the character of Santa Claus. Especially in this realm where we're imagining that he became flesh and is now rendering judgment upon him.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess I see what you're saying, but like, what are the like?
Also, do you think that Santa? Because Santa's pretty omnipotent. Like, if you go down the superpowers of Santa,
Yeah.
like soft telepathy at the very baseline, right? If not a network of spies. Yeah, he knows when you've been bad or good, so be good for goodness sake. So it's like, number one, either a massive, overbearing intelligence gathering operation, or he's psychic.
Okay. Or
but either way, omnipotent, either way, nearly untouchable by like what we consider to be like human means, right?
Okay, but that's Santa. Now you're the guy who created Santa. What are the two best things you get out of being the guy who created Santa?
Well, number one,
I mean, I feel like free coal is up there. You're just shitting on that.
I'm not, okay, listen. I am accepting your free coal thing, by the way.
Yeah.
Right? What I'm saying is that Santa gets to be he's like the CIA and like he's the CIA and Batman.
Yeah.
But universally beloved by everyone but like Jews and Muslims. And meanwhile, the guy who invented him, I feel like, is still just like Larry Peabody, like who had the idea for Santa. Like he still lives in an apartment, and he's got an ex-wife, and like his kid hates him, like, and yet sprung from his head was this gigantic operation.
I had this brief moment where you said Larry Peabody, where I was like, no, it was a drunk Scots in a bar. Like no, some drunk Scottish guy in a bar invented him. Stupid Justin. And I don't know why in my brain that was such an important thing.
Yeah.
But no, you're right. It was Larry Peabody, clearly.
Like he worked in the Brill building like back in like the 1970s.
1970s? Santa was invented in the 1970s?
Bet you didn't know.
I didn't know. I thought it was more like he was like the Willy Loman of the Victorian era.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like he's just peddling.
Yeah, like Larry Peabody can't sell any brushes.
Yeah.
And then he like.
But his true idea is this Santa concept he's been working on. One day he goes to sleep, knock on the door, it's Santa. It's like, what the living fuck? I'm Larry Peabody. How did this idea I had in my head become flesh?
Yeah.
What does Santa say?
Santa's like, well, Larry, you've been a real a-hole, haven't you?
And there's not even a moment where Santa's like, thank you for creating me.
No.
Like, he springs out and immediately is like,
are you
suck
me?
ass at selling brushes. You created me.
That's
fuck
not
you.
what it is.
Here's coal.
You got it from the wrong angle. It's fuck you. Look at the burden you have placed on me for the rest of my life. I went from not existing at all to now it's my fucking job to watch everyone on the planet and deliver them gifts at the end of the year. And you know what? You didn't even stop there. I don't even have to give gifts to the good guys. Look, I also have to carry around this huge fucking sack of coal for assholes like you. Here, Larry.
So Larry, I hope you like it.
Yeah.
Okay, good news. You don't got to pay for central heating in December. Because I'm going to get you stocked, bro. Brah.
Let's look at. I really want to.
Everyone, I just like this idea that Santa just gets the list of shit he has to do. He's created. Like he's fucking. This is not. He's not born. Boom. Full everything, right? And he just like gets like his list of shit to do, and he's just like, oh, fuck it, really? All this? Fuck it, for real. All of it. Like he's yelling to nobody. Like he's yelling to like Mrs. Claus, who's also forming out of the fucking ether. Like. Can you believe? Yeah. No, Larry. Yeah. All of it. He came up. I'm gonna have a word with that motherfucker. Hold on.
Do you think he probably spent like the first 3 weeks of his existence figuring out who had created him? He's like, all right, well, I have to deal with all this shit.
He's born in the North Pole, and he has to track down Larry in fucking his dumb, shitty fucking flat in London in the Victorian era.
He's like, well, at least I'm omnipotent and have some degree of psychic ability, so I can get to the bottom of this fucking situation.
Number one, we've just written a Liam Neeson movie. Liam Neeson Santa Claus. And he wakes up almost like Terminator style, like he just appears naked in the snow in the North Pole, and he realizes the burden that is on him. Meanwhile, he looks around, all of the fucking infrastructure for like his warehouse and Mrs. Claus and the elves, they're being formed. He realizes, listen, I got to get to work in 2 weeks But in that 2 weeks, oh, best believe I'm going to have some fucking words with Larry. How does he know? Does he have a vision?
He so got shit on. I bet he doesn't even get the elves. I bet he just gets the infrastructure and he's like, and now I gotta hire fucking elves.
So this is really, he's going to track down Larry while he's checking his Craigslist and fucking like replying. Like he's just like, yeah, can you please please only resumes with experience in the last year? Fuck.
I want to, so like everyone gets shit on in this story, right? Like Santa has this big burden dropped upon him. Larry is still the Willy Loman of London.
Who's our hero?
What is the one good thing that happens to Larry out of all of this? Like, does any positive come out of being the guy who created Santa? Like, you just wished this ineffable being into reality, and like all you get is like a knock at the door in the middle of the night and get called an asshole and
hey, fuck
have
you!
rocks thrown at you.
Here's a gift. Here's fucking one turtle dove right in your face, dickhead.
Give me the one thing, the one good thing that comes out of being the creator of Santa.
I feel like I don't know if there's anything because like everyone believes he's real now. If he actually is real, like now the idea of Santa is yet more realistic than you saying that you invented Santa with your fucking brain. And that he proved it to you when he came to your house to like yell at you for the burden you've placed upon him.
So like he's in the bar, he's like, no, I'm serious. I was the guy who invented Santa. And the guy next to him's like, yeah, whatever, asshole. My uncle invented the sun.
Yeah. And meanwhile, his uncle is raw. He's from fucking Egypt.
This is the weirdest Liam Neeson movie ever.
I feel like Liam Neeson's really only there to be gruff and just be angry that he's Santa Claus. He's just really pissed off the entire movie.
I think the reason this is so important to me is because, to take it back around, we didn't get any positives out of creating the mountain rapist. All we get is harassed by the mountain rapist.
By the mountain rapist.
Yeah.
And that's what poor Larry Peabody got when it came to Santa Claus, man. That dude got fucked. Come see it next fall. We're launching it.
But really, Santa got more fucked than Larry did.
Well, I mean, Santa, we are presuming, is eternal, right?
Yeah, eternally fucked. Look at all the shit he has to do.
But it's not like you know the Panchen Lama, like you know where they're seeing who the most likely reincarnation vessels is for Santa.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
like
so at least
he's just an eternal being. He's just.
I mean, is that better? Like you just
living upon Mount Olympus.
It's Sisyphus, like except instead of a rock he's pushing up the hill every year, it's like toys for all the good little boys and girls.
Yeah.
So mind you, he doesn't even like. Santa probably hates children, especially if he has to watch him do shitty things all year with his mind powers.
So at what point does Santa throw off the yoke of his oppressor and say like, I'm not doing shit?
Can't. That's why Larry's such a dick.
No, but who enforces? Is it just like Ghost, where like, you know, all of a sudden like the shadow like people come out to drag him to hell? Like he tries to fuck off one year.
Uh-huh.
And meanwhile it's like, Santa,
maybe he just
come to hell with us, and a shadow hand grabs him and he's like, I'm Liam Neeson, get the fuck off me, shadow hand. I guess I'll be Santa this year.
I think I know what really happens.
Crack it.
I think it's more like the movie Thinner. And so the less work he does, the more emaciated he gets. And so it starts just getting like painful and this hunger, this craving.
But he can never die.
But he can never die. So it's just this painful hunger. He gets all skin and bones and everything as he tries to shirk his duties. And the more he does, like, poof, big fat old jolly guy.
In a way, though, that's kind of what the Santa Claus was, right? Like, wasn't like the Santa Claus, yeah. Like, you went through like they play it off like this shit is cool, but like it's the kind of physical transformation that like it would be on like one of those like Discovery ID like unknown medical mysteries like fucking things.
Right,
where it's like
Tree Man.
Exactly. Like you would be like, what the fuck? Something that has never happened to any human being ever is happening to me right now. And like all y'all motherfuckers might think it's cute because it fits into some archetype, but like I'm gaining an irresponsible amount of weight and all of my hair is going shock white. This is full body shutdown.
Yeah.
Like my body has just lost control and now I'm going to die. That's what the Santa Claus is about.
Yeah. And so in reverse, the real Santa, of course, loses weight. And so he just like every decade or so goes through this bender where he's like, no, I'm not going to do it.
So in our universe, is our Santa Claus like, I wish I was like the fucking Santa Claus. Or he fucking passes by cameo by Tim Allen and he's just like, you had it easy, bub.
I bet at one point in our universe, Santa has hunted down Tim Allen, grabbed him by the collar, and shot himself in the head while staring in Tim Allen's eyes. And then realized that nothing happened and pushed Tim Allen into a gutter and walked away. Which, by the way, is why Tim Allen...
Can you understand my hell, Tim Allen? I feel like there's the title. Can you understand my hell, Tim Allen?
Comma, Tim Allen.
See, this is when these ideas work, right? Because we can get it done by next Christmas. We can shoot this in the summer.
Oh,
right?
Perfect timing.
You know, timing. And then we have it ready to go. Speaking of movies, you have now all but officially won the winter draft.
Yeah, as long as Mordecai doesn't make $300 million.
And oddly enough...
So you're the only one that still has a chance in this.
Which I don't, because I've made 77 cents up till now on the back of 90 movies. I bought 90 movies, and none of them made any kind of money. Oddly enough, I don't feel like I had the worst possible strategy, because as it happened, it was like just the well-placed Oscar movie that nobody really saw coming that won it.
Right.
And I bought a lot of lottery tickets for the random Oscar movie that might just take the world by storm.
All in the Oscar, all in the Oscar time zone too.
Yeah.
Like most of your movies are those like December movies.
I just didn't get American Sniper, and I also had nothing else that made literally
Well, because
any
American
kind of
Sniper
money.
snuck in. It was way further up on the draft. It just was in limited release for a month and a half.
Yeah, and then it just went wide release. So here's my question. I'm thinking Iron 2015 League.
Oh, we're still gonna do that.
Well, I think we got to do it now because I wanted to make it into 2015, so it would end in early 2016 because Star Wars is like I want Star Wars and the Avengers to both
get their full run.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or at least like what we can assume
Star
to
Wars
be.
Is Christmas?
Is like I think 2 weeks before Christmas, something like that.
Gotcha.
So I wanted to get it into like I feel like beginning of February, or maybe it's like when the Oscars happen or something in like early March that we draft, and that goes the entire year.
Yeah.
So, what do you think? What's the number one on the draft board?
Well, it's either Star Wars or Avengers, right?
Yeah.
So we're betting on whether or not Avengers has it, and we're just doing domestic?
Domestic, yeah.
Domestic. So the bet is, has Avengers built up enough of a cachet to overpower all of the adults that are going to drag their kids to Star Wars relative to so kids are going to beg to go to Avengers in a way that they will not beg to go to Star Wars, but parents are going to bring their kids to Star Wars regardless, right?
I mean, Star Wars has remained a vital children's property because of the cartoons.
Right. As vital as the Avengers, though, when the Avengers has 3 different cartoons running on channels at any given time.
Yes.
I think it's the Avengers.
You think, all told, I think
Avengers makes more money this year than Star Wars does, and I get that that's a gamble.
Yeah.
I don't think that's a given, but I think that's where I would put my money.
How much would you pay for Avengers?
Are we still doing the $100?
Yeah.
So this is a movie that's going to make. Well, if we're only doing $100.
I mean, let's also just understand what the Avengers is.
Yeah.
Marvel is a guy sitting at a blackjack table that has just let it ride, or let's say roulette wheel. He has just let it ride for 9 movies. And at one point, he then took out his life savings and put it down on the table. Won again.
Red.
Yeah, won again.
Yeah.
And then doubled down just regular that 5 more times.
Yeah.
And now is taking out all of his life savings again to bet again. Like, this is such compound interest on top of interest on top of interest that, like, you know, now the idea of Avengers, like, being like, oh my God, if we find out that there's a Guardians of the Galaxy cameo or flavor to it, now that takes this movie to yet another level, which you gotta figure is like somewhere in the offing, right?
It does like 700 to 800 million domestic, right? Like the last one did 650.
Yeah. You would
Like,
assume it will make more money.
That's a ridiculous number.
You would assume just by inflation, there's no reason why it would make less money than the last Avengers. They've only had good Marvel movies since then.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess that would depend on Ant-Man comes out between now and the Avengers, right?
Right, but Ant-Man won't have any direct ties to the Avengers either, I don't believe.
Wait, does it come out before or after? Is that the
Comes out-
first movie of Phase 3, Ant-Man?
I think it comes out July? Is that right?
Then it comes out after.
No, maybe.
Because I think Avengers is like May. It's like that early. It's like it's the OG Star Wars spot.
Gotcha.
It's in that April, May area.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like the
release
start of
dates very
summer. So yeah, no, we're done with new Marvel movies.
well. Yeah.
The next Marvel movie that will come out is the
Although,
Avengers.
like, Agent of Carter just started the other day. Have
Agent
you
of
watched
Carter?
Or Agent Carter.
Carter. No, but I've heard nothing but great things about
Great.
it.
It's Alias meets the Rocketeer. I
Yeah.
love it.
Seems like Marvel kind of wanted to aspire. Like, I think I haven't watched but the pilot of Shield, and I think like that show can go forever. Like, there's a level of interest that will sustain it, in the same way that, like, you know, Arrow or Flash or something are like competent. They're good. They're good storytelling with this IP. That's fine. You can live your life on that.
Yeah.
But I feel like Marvel's like, yeah, but we can do our Game of Thrones. Like, we can do Justified. Like, we can do these shows that are awesome.
Yeah. And
Like,
presumably that's their play with like Daredevil and stuff.
yeah. And Carter being like, okay, let's be a little bit more than just like, hey, look, here's a bunch of
Yeah.
intellectual property that we can throw around.
There's
like,
no doubt that Carter is better than Shield. And I enjoy Shield, but I watch it because it's like Marvel property that I've known forever and like it's fun to watch.
Yeah.
Like Carter's actually like good storytelling and well shot.
But what are your hopes for the Netflix properties, the Marvel Netflix properties, like the Daredevil?
I would love it to be like something little bit grittier, like basically the Marvel Knights imprint from like the early 2000s. Like, I don't know if you're familiar,
Yeah.
but when it was just Daredevil and Punisher and like Cloak and Dagger, and those were the only good things that Marvel was making at the time.
Yeah.
Um,
Ghost Rider in there?
maybe?
Marvel Knights?
I don't know. Eventually he was.
Yeah.
I don't know if he was the first.
Yeah, I kind of feel like if that's like really good, like, we just have to realize we are only at like the beginning of like this Marvel dynasty.
Yeah.
You know, if they can do good like Battlestar Galactica level television, like, it might never really break out of like the niche of the geeks, but like the geeks can all stand up and say like, seriously, this is one of the best shows on television.
Yeah.
Like, that's huge. That's
What they did
gigantic.
with the comics, right? Like, they started selling us on the popcorn movies, the Spider-Mans and the X-Men and the Captain Americas, and now they can move into the other stuff. Like, they are like a genre IP machine. They just make things that across all of these different boundaries, and they can mine all of those. Thousands and thousands of characters, like easily the best move that Disney has made in the last 40 years with buying Marvel.
Unless Star Wars is the success.
Even if it is, I feel like it is already dwarfed compared to everything that Marvel can do.
Which is a testament to Marvel.
Right.
A good Star Wars movie means unlimited money. Like, it's Marvel, no matter what,
Yeah.
will always be seen as more of a boy franchise.
Mm-hmm.
What Star Wars has is like, which is odd because like Princess Leia is so iconic and yet she kind of like fucks around for like 3 movies and doesn't really do a whole lot. But it is more of a 4-quadrant franchise than Marvel is. And Marvel has done a great job in expanding that, but there's a reason why.
I don't know. Avengers is pretty 4-quadrant, right? And now,
No,
like,
it is. But they have had to expand to that, I guess is my point. Star Wars is that out of the box.
Okay, but think about this. Star Wars is that out of the box after 50 years, and the Marvel Cinematic Universe is that after like 8 years.
Sure. No, I mean, like, I guess it's one of those things where it's like, I remember talking to Andrew about like what was going to make more, Avengers or Star Wars, like 6 months ago, 7 months ago.
Mm-hmm.
And like, he was very much on like, yeah, you know, you look at how much the Avengers have made and all these movies, like it just makes more sense. The last Star Wars movie that came out was not well received, so you got to figure like maybe this is more of a Batman Begins thing where it's like it takes one good movie, then the second movie makes a kajillion dollars.
Right.
And then that first trailer happened, and it's all that anybody talks about, and you're like, oh geez, like now it has to be good,
right?
Which is the big gamble. Because, like, you break down those J.J. Abrams movies.
Also, how rad is it that we're assuming that the Avengers is going to be good? That, like, Marvel is such a hit parade lately that we're saying Star Wars has to be good to beat Avengers, not Avengers has to be good.
Well, and this is kind of like, you know, it's kind of like when John Lasseter does a Pixar movie, right? It's like, Joss Whedon doing a Marvel movie is like the head of this group is like going to like there's only so crappy it like can be, right?
Also though, John Lasseter historically makes the lowest grossing Pixar movies.
Wait, who did Toy Story?
Well, John Lasseter did the first Toy Story.
Yeah.
He did A Bug's Life, and then he did Cars.
And Cars didn't make a ton in the box office, but is like the gigantic merchandising thing, right?
Right.
Yeah. But he's looked at as like the forerunner of, I mean, it's just like the fact that everybody else that's come after him has made better movies, I guess. But maybe it's like, I mean, just because John Lasseter is kind of at the head of it, man, Cars was the disappointment. I mean, like,
we're only talking about Disney-owned properties right now.
It's insane.
It's mind-blowing. Like 1984, Disney was basically about to shut its doors, and now it owns everything that everyone cares about.
Like, it's nuts that, I mean, I guess anybody could have made the deal for Marvel, right?
Like anyone could have purchased Marvel.
Like if Sony wanted to do it. Yeah, I mean, of the mega conglomerates, like Universal, Sony, like those types of companies. Like, if they wanted to buy Marvel, they could have. It's not.
And to be fair, it took like a leap of faith at that point, right? Like that was not a foregone conclusion that would be a hit. And already like Fox and Sony both had X-Men and Spider-Man tied up and still do. And at that point, no one thought that any of the other characters were like.
Well, no. It took Iron Man and the Hulk before Disney bought them, right? Those two movies were out independently of Disney.
Were they?
Yeah, I know Iron Man certainly was, and I'm pretty sure the Hulk was after that. So it was like Marvel had decided we're making our own movies, like, and we're gonna set up this universe, and we're gonna lead toward the Avengers, and we're gonna base it around these characters. And then the two did well.
Yeah.
And Disney was
Iron Man
was
a Paramount property.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Disney was like, oh, okay. Well, then let's buy into this and let's bet very heavily on it. And that's paid off gigantically. But also it's like Marvel is run by very cost-centric people. Yeah. You know, it's like you could have made them a deal and they probably would have taken it.
Yeah. And we're raised on like writing $1.50 soap operas every month.
Yeah. So it's like Star Wars is kind of a different story because like you have to deal with the eccentricities of George Lucas.
Yeah.
Who's like, he